Morning everyone, it's Carol here. Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to do Margarete Miller's Collage Weekly Planner assignment. This is the 2023 assignment and it's week 13 or assignment number 13. So I've got my pieces here that I'm going to use to create my collage today. And the prompts, the first one is light. Well, I've got an image here of the Constantine Cross, which is the monogram of Christ, and actually the Constantine Cross predates the one that we're more familiar with, which is the crucifix or the cross. The Constantine Cross dates back to the 2nd century AD, and obviously Christ is a symbol of the light of the world to Christians. So I want to use this to represent my first prompt, or the first prompt, which is light. Now I'm not going to use this one because it's a bit too big, but what I've done is if I lift this one up, I've printed out a couple here that are slightly smaller, and I'm going to be using one or other of the smaller ones. So I'm going to pop those to one side. The second prompt, a coupon or a form. Well, I've got part of a form here. This is a form that a family grocer would fill out, and once it's filled out, obviously it then becomes a receipt for goods that are bought, but until it's filled out it is actually a form. So I've got part of that and I thought I would use it, and I've also got this one which is a similar sort of thing, a form of some sort. I particularly chose this one because it's got red on it, so I'm going to be using both of those today. Circles, I've got this lovely piece of handmade paper and it's a gorgeous mustardy shade which is going to blend in well with these papers that I've got here. I've also got this business card. I love the rings on here. Now this looks like a slice of wood. It actually isn't, it's actually ceramics, but we've still got those circles and I really wanted to use this. Candy or sweet treats? Well, I don't have candy or sweets in the house at all. I can't be trusted, but I am partial with my black coffee now and then to an Amoretti biscuit. So I actually rescued one of these a couple of weeks back when we had visitors, and I had the Amoretti biscuits out, and I rescued this to use in my collages. So it's coming in perfect for today's project. And again, red, that will pick up the red on here. The next one is something written in pencil. Well, I've got this very tiny scrap of a vintage book page and it just had the number 340 written on it in pencil, so that was well worth saving, so I'm going to use that. The next prompt is, or the bonus prompt is, rubber stamping in red or in ink. Well, I'm going to probably stamp in red archival ink a number, but I'm not sure yet. I want to get my collage in place first, see how it looks, and then make a decision. But what I am planning to use as well is this little bit of, well, it's like a vellum or lightweight paper at least, and I thought I might use that. And I would love to use this piece of vintage German book text just purely because the actual font on it is fantastic. I don't know whether I will actually get round to using that, but if I can work it into my project I will do. So I'm going to get started. I have my usual piece of lightweight card, which is the same size as the pages in Margarete Miller's official planner. As always, I've marked round a border, and let's see what I can do with these pages. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to work this into my project. I might just use the actual crest, just one of the crests, because the whole piece is quite busy, or I might just use this edge down here and use two of the crests. I don't know yet. Sorry, I've got a bit of a croaky voice this morning, but I am going to play with these little bits and bobs and see what I can come up with. So I always like to start with my biggest piece. So this one's a little bit delicate down that side. It's got a couple of tiny rips. So let's see what I can do with this. Maybe something like that there. And this piece, maybe something like that, so I can get that date in there. Maybe drop it down a little bit, something like that. See what I can do with this piece. Let's turn that down. This is quite heavy, so I don't really want that much of that showing. Maybe doing something like that so that I can get the word grocers in. That's looking quite nice. Maybe have this up higher, like that. I'd like to get that in, and also I would like to get that word date in there. I'm quite liking that I've got my dots going, or my circles going round like that, and getting that black line down there. I'd like to see a little bit more of this red underneath here. So maybe if I pull that out a little bit like that, and get that in there like that. I'm liking the look of this, so I'm going to go ahead and glue one or two pieces in place. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue behind this one. Take away this bit at the bottom here. So I'm thinking of having this piece like that, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue behind here. I'm going to put this, I think, in the centre there, like that. So I can either have that there, I could have one there if I wanted to, or I could change this one out and just have that very subtly in the centre there, like that. I like this little one there because it's quite subtle, but it's almost lost in there. It actually looks quite nice up there, and I could have that one in the centre. I think I'm going to go with that one, and let's have a look at my book page, whether I can get any of that in. I am tempted to just have a line of book text down that side there. I'm not so keen on it peeping out the bottom there. I could stagger that edge up there so that I have a straight edge at the bottom. Okay, let me glue this in place first, because I've decided that that's where it's going to go. I'm going to use my ruler and take away some of this book text. Dab of glue. There we go. We're almost there with this one. I need to do my stamping, and I need to get this in. That's an obvious place for my stamping to go, or a number down there. So I could put a number there and balance it up with a number there. I've got plenty of this that I can use. Okay, so just wondering about cutting that off there. I'm wondering if I just take the writing there, whether that would work. So I think I'm going to have a go at it. I'm going to just put some glue on the back of that. Just going to let that dry for a second or two before I try fussy cutting it. I fussy cut out my label from the Amoretti wrapper, and as you can see, all I've gone with is the actual wording here. and trimmed away everything else. And I have done various auditionings of it around the collage. It's quite a difficult piece to actually integrate without it just looking as if it's just stuck there. And in fact, every place where I did put it, it did look like it was just blobbed in place. So what I've decided to do is actually just do that, make a real feature of it. So I'm putting it right across the corner here, as you can see, and I'm using it to cover up that little bit of black there. I'm also trying to get it to overlap this piece of paper here with the pencil marking on, and obviously my business card. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue behind it and hold it in place. And I'm quite happy that it goes off the page at the bottom here, or off the collage at the bottom. I think that just breaks up that bottom corner a little bit for me. This is ready to be glued down. I still need to do my stamping, and I'm thinking I need to do something up in that corner, and I might even do a little bit down here so that, well, I was going to say so that I've got 3 lots of red, but I've actually got red there and red all around here. I am going to use the other little image of the Constantine Cross, and I'm going to put it up there. That kind of takes the eye up to that corner a little bit. I think it looks better up there than without it. So I'm going to put that in. Leave a minuscule border around the outside. For my stamping, I've chosen this little number out of the Stampers Anonymous set, and it's field notes CMS 396, and I'll put the information in the description box below the video. And then I'm also going to choose one of these sample ones. These are her date stamps. Not sure which one I'm going to go for yet. And I've got my archival link here, and this one is red geranium, so I'm just going to ink up my stamp. Got a piece of test paper here just to make sure I've got a clean stamp. Yep. And let's have another go at that, and fingers crossed that I don't make a mistake. So thought I would have that there like that. On the sample stamps, I wanted a date really up here, but all the dates are pretty big in comparison to the space that I've got. I'm going to go with a number because I think that's going to be about the best, and probably just have it higher up. Okay, let's go with that. This is my finished piece, and it looks a little bit stark and lost against this white background, and I haven't quite got enough of this Amoretti paper left over, so I just had to go and eat another one so that I could get another piece. And unfortunately, my haste to get it open and sample the goodies, I've ripped it. But what I thought I could do was trim it down to size. It is slightly shorter at the top and at the bottom than the border, but what I thought I could do is I could put it on my page, and I've got a scrap of tissue paper here. As you can see, it's been used before, but I'm thinking that I could just use it and cover over the wrapper, and I have just about the right amount so that these brown pieces don't impinge on my piece. It softens it down nicely, and also, as you can see here and here, it's dotty, it's got dots on it, so that's going to work in terms of circles. So I'm going to trim this all down to size and glue it onto my piece, and then I'm just going to mount my collage in the center of it, and I think that's going to give me enough detail, because I'm going to pick up this border up the top there, and I'm going to pick up that there, and there's just going to be a little hint of red going down each side. So I think it's going to work, but I'm going to trim it all down, and then if I think it's working, I'm going to glue it in place and glue this on and come back to you with the finished piece. If it's not working, well, that's another matter. I might have to go back to the drawing board. So I will be back in a moment. I think my sacrifice of having to eat another Amoretti just so that I could get a wrapper has paid off, because I'm really pleased with how it looks now that it's on my page, and the collage is on the top. I didn't actually trim the wrapper or the tissue paper to the size I wanted. What I did was I folded both. So the Amoretti has got maybe about 3/4 of an inch down either side folded under, and then the tissue paper is folded and wrapped over, and I think that just gives the whole of this background piece a bit more sturdiness and weight, and helped me to glue it all together. And to glue it, I obviously used a glue stick, because obviously wet glue would have been too much for it. So I'm really pleased how it looks. I think it really adds to the piece and settles down the collage into this page rather than detract from it. So yes, I'm pleased with that, and I'm really glad that I went with that idea. So let's quickly go through the prompts. The first prompt was light. Well, I went for this symbol of Christ in 2 places here, and Christ for Christians is the light of the world. A coupon or a form. Well, this one in the back here was a form as well as this soap one, so either or both of those count. Circles, well, I went for this business card here. I went for the handmade paper, and obviously the symbol of Christ, the Constantine Cross, is a circle as well. Candy or sweet treat, well, I went with my Amoretti wrappers, so I've got this one in the background and then this little one quite dominant across my page. Something written in pencil, this tiny little number written down here on this scrap of vintage book paper. And bonus, a rubber stamping in red ink. Well, I went for the number 1842 up there and this number down here, but there is red on the actual vintage receipt at the back, although it's not stamped by me, but it is there. So there we go, everybody. I'm pleased with this one. It was a nice challenge, and I loved working in these colours with the pop of red. So I hope you enjoyed seeing it come together, and so much so that you'll join me for next week's challenge or assignment, which is assignment number 14, which will be out next Monday. So until then, have a great week. Look after yourselves, get some crafting in if you've got the time, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye now.